Now, for more on Gaza, despite the influx of Qatari aid and the ceasefire agreement with Israel, citizens of the Strip still suffer under a humanitarian crisis. But Palestinian aid organization UNRWA has only been exposed as contributing to the conflict in the region through their anti-Semitic and anti-Israel education and programs. That's why the United States has completely halted its annual donations to UNRWA. But a new Saudi donation of $50 million threatens to prolong UNRWA's operations, and David Bedein, the director of the Center for Near East Policy, is here to tell us why.
Very simply, the UNRWA money is not supervised. 54% of UNRWA money goes to education. Now, that's supposed to sound good, like a United Nations institution that teaches you values of Mother Teresa or something. However, what we've shown in our films, which were just shown here on TV, is that the children in the schools, and these are children coming out of the schools, going in. This is the head of the UNRWA summer camp this summer. 100,000 children along the Gaza border. This is what they use their money for. They use their money for weapons, ammunition, marches, and indoctrination of little kids to make war on Israel. Now, if there had been some kind of supervision, that's one thing. The Hamas has to understand. We have to understand. Saudi Arabia is still in a state of war with Israel. Still in a state of war with Israel. Most people have forgotten that, and
yeah, especially because we keep talking about how our relations with Saudi Arabia are improving.
Well, that's because people say the friend of my friend is the enemy of my enemy. The enemy of my friend is
the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Excuse me. The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Speaking of Iran.
Right. Now, they're helping Israel with Iran, no question about it. However, they continue their support for every kind of military operation in UNRWA. Now, UNRWA has established something called the Al-Qutla clubs. Al-Qutla clubs are military training clubs inside the UNRWA schools. Now, we asked Saudi Arabia a number of questions. 4 questions that we put to Saudi Arabia over the last 4 months. Will they cancel their war with Israel? Will they continue to fund the war indoctrination curriculum of UNRWA? Will they continue to boycott? You know, the key country involved in the Arab boycott is Saudi Arabia. There have been since 1949, and that hasn't stopped. It's even worse than BDS. And last but not least, the curriculum in campuses around the world against Israel, funded through Saudi Arabia. It's not just...
So, okay, you pose these questions. Have you gotten any sort of response?
No response whatsoever. They acknowledge that they got the questions. Our correspondent in Washington...
They did?
Oh, yeah, sure. They had no choice. But said, did you get the email? Yes. Thank you very much. But again, what they're doing here is very clearly approving Hamas activity by giving them $50 million unsupervised.
And how is that likely to affect Israeli-Saudi relations or United States-Saudi relations or really any relations with Saudi Arabia?
The Center for Near East Policy Research is asking that question all the time. Is the United States, which is close to Saudi Arabia, is Israel, which is working with Saudi Arabia on Iranian issues, what are they saying about this? We're not getting many responses, not from the U.S. and not from the Israeli government. Now, this is very important because whereas Saudi Arabia, on the one hand, is helping Israel vis-a-vis Iran, it's on the other hand undermining, and it should be understood, when you have 100,000 children under arms, that's hard to believe, under arms, while the philosophy of the Israeli government and the American government, if the children are learning in a United Nations school, it'll be okay. But what we're showing here, and the films that we have tens and hours of footage, which show the kids with guns, show the kids getting trained, and the indoctrination in the new school books, which we just completed right now after 18 years of going through all the school books of the PA and UNRWA, war indoctrination manuals. And this is the Western countries are responsible. The United States pulled out, but the UK and Germany got in.
All right. Well, we'll have to keep a close eye on this, and that's why it's good that you're hopefully going to come back as soon as there's any
Take a look at our website, IsraelBehindTheNews.com. Everything's documented there, and there's ways to be in touch with us. We hope that every parliament in the world that contributes money to UNRWA will take a good look about what they're doing. Thank you.
David Bedein, thank you so much.
Thank you.